we'll get right into questions for Coach White. Ira?
Yeah, just your overall impressions. It seemed like last night Coach Norvell said that the offense got off to a hot start. How do you feel like your defense played as the good team?
I think first scrimmages, you're always going to have some good plays and bad plays. I think there are some, just the thing that stands out are certain performances, right? Some guys that you thought may play a little bit better did not, and some guys who you didn't know how they were going to play really performed well. And so the biggest disturbing thing was the penalties. I think we had a couple unsportsmanlike penalties, lined up offsides a couple of times, or misalignments, things like that really bug you. They extend drives. Two of those penalties actually ended up where we stop them, we give the penalty, and then they go on to score. So those are the things that you need to control, which you can. But overall, it was a good night just for them to operate. Coaching staff, sidelines, substitution packages, all the guys off the field and letting the guys go out there and play. I thought it was a really good night. It was really neat starting off in Doak and getting that feeling there. It was awesome. It was really really cool feeling to be in there, especially with the families and stuff in there. But and when we moved into the IPF, it kind of quieted down and just was ball. And so it was a good start, but just tons of stuff to clean up, including coaches and myself.
Brendan?
You mentioned some guys maybe exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Who were some of the ones that stood out? Beyond what?
Yeah, a lot of guys. So I don't want to miss a whole bunch. But Jaden Jones, I thought he played. Just coming off of injury and all that stuff. You saw his work ethic. The young man he works his butt off. He's here, one of the first ones in the building, one of the last ones to leave. Just a really humble young man, and to see him go out there and no restrictions, not hesitating, no fear of the injury before. It was really, really cool to watch him play. He played really well. The twins, those guys are big time ball players. I thought all the linebackers did some really nice things. All of them, AJ, OG, Juice, all those guys run around. Elijah, those guys were really flying around making some plays. Backing guys wise, Earl and Ed did a couple nice, really nice things. I thought Ashton showed up a little bit. KJ showed up, and it was good to see Charles Lester make some plays out there, some really physical plays. So again, I know I'm missing a ton of guys, but just off the top of my head, those are some of the guys that played well.
Aswan?
Spring, you guys kind of get into the stadium because of the construction, and then rain kind of plays in. Do you have an idea though how you want to do game day operations in terms of who will be on the field, who's going to be in the booth?
Yeah, that was our first deal. The great thing with Coach Norvell is he wants to treat everything like a game, so that way we can always go back and correct things. So we tried that yesterday when we went out into Doak, and I thought the game day operation in terms of the set was okay. Again, I need to be better as coaches, directing the guys and making sure that our communication on the sideline and who's where and what needs to be better, more efficient. And but we're working through the process of finalizing that stuff.
Do you know who's going to be in the booth? Do you have an idea?
Yeah.
Can you share that with us? Or do you want to hold on to that?
Nah, I'll hold on to that. Yeah, I'll hold on to that.
Liam?
We heard Coach Norvell say last night there was a couple of guys getting sacks. I know Jaden had one. Just the pressure you were able to put on Tom, especially with his escapability. How big was that to see in that first scrimmage?
Yeah, we didn't have enough sacks. I know that the combination of both coverage and guys getting up in the rush, working the different combinations of rushers. T-Night was throwing guys in there at different spots and all that stuff. So it's hard. It's Sperry. All those guys back there. We must have missed 5, 6, 7 sacks, but they're so mobile back there running around. So, which is great training for us because in this league you're going to see a whole bunch of athletic quarterbacks. So we need to be able to contain the rusher, the passer a little bit better. We need to be able to control our rush lanes a little bit better, cover a little bit better. But again, it goes back to those individual performances. You expect James, in passing situations, you expect him to get sacks. Jaden, you kind of knew what kind of guy he was, but to actually go out there on the grass and let him run around, that was fun to watch. Juju, he was working himself in the shape and doing those things, and he showed up big time last night. So some of those guys, it was really fun to watch them. You know, because again, when the lights turn on and all the coaches are off the field and those guys are just playing ball, like you see the player come out, and it did with those guys.
Brendan?
You mentioned Charles Lester. There seems like there may be a handful of younger guys who are vying to try to get more opportunities this year in the rotation. What have you seen from that younger group of cornerbacks, maybe after the Jabril and Jerry tier?
Yeah, I mean, all of them. I wouldn't just classify. You know, all those guys are learning. They have something to prove. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, all of them on defense have something to prove. I got something to prove. The coach got something to prove. Everybody on defense has something to damn prove around here. And so, it was a good competition. You saw guys who you expected to make some plays, and they didn't. And then, conversely, like I said, you know, the first couple plays that come to mind was Charles. You know, he reads a key, he sees the ball, and he goes in there and he attacks it. Hey, you know what? You're gonna play a lot of football if you're physical and play hard. You know, you're gonna reward those kind of attributes. So it was fun to watch him, and we got to make sure everybody in the room knows that it's a competition. So,
Peter?
Coach, this will be your first time with the team going to Jacksonville and
Yeah.
getting together. What is something that you're looking forward to, and have you been to Jacksonville before, or so when the last time you've been there?
yeah, we went to Jacksonville for I believe it was Mother's Day, and we stayed out there in a resort with my wife and family and stuff. It was a beautiful place. I mean, T-Knight's from there, so he's always talking about it. But I heard this is a great week for identity. We call this Identity Week, right? Where you're going to go down there and you're going to really find out the toughness of the team, so to speak. So looking forward to it. I heard the biggest thing mentioned was bring a blanket, because I guess the ACs work really well over there. It's supposed to be 50 degrees or something like that. So everybody's walking around with blankets coming in here. I forgot to ask my wife to bring mine, so I might be cold all the time. I don't know.
Corey?
You would go against the offense every day in practice, but if you were coordinating against it for an actual game, what really would concern you? Scare is not the right word, but concern you about what you're facing in this Florida State offense?
Yeah, you got to defend everything. I mean, you got to defend everything, and you know, not to give anybody any kind of scouting report stuff, but you really have to defend anything and everything. You know, so it makes you better as a coordinator. You know, and the great thing about it is, just talking up there, you know, with Zach, and you know, I do want to say this, that you know, we got some really good coaches on the staff, but you know, talking on defense, you know, Jay Papuchis, he's been at DC. You know what I mean? There's another set of eyes in there that, I mean, the wealth of knowledge he has between Kevin McGarry's been a head coach, Zach Arnett's been a head coach, and Papuchis. I mean, we got some brain power in there, so it's fun to listen to guys talk and say how we can figure out stuff and, you know, find solutions to certain things that are really stressing on the defense. So really fortunate to be in a room with those guys and try to coordinate this defense together.
Chris?
How do you manage preseason in the sense of trying to figure out who fits what role versus having everybody equipped to do all things that your defense has?
I think that's a good question right there. It comes down to the coordination with the coaches and just knowing what we want to do. You know, playing the guys' strengths. I think that, you know, you saw some, as we do more of this team and scrimmaging and all that stuff, you're going to see more specialization, guys showing like what they're better at than other things. So it's just us watching the practice, watching the film, and going back and saying, hey, this guy is better here. Let's make sure he is there the majority of time versus putting him in this spot that he's not as good at. So that's a continuing thing, especially with all the young guys we're playing and the things we're doing right now, trying to cross-train guys. I mean, you got safeties playing all three spots. You got every guy on the defensive line playing everywhere. We're moving guys around on pass rush situations and stuff. So you're going to have that in the beginning, but as we hone into to the first game, you'll start to see that dwindle down.
Ira?
I think you mentioned AJ first with the linebackers. One of the things it seems like since you've been here is it's a fresh start for everybody, and you've got some guys who are returning starters, different positions who may not be guaranteed to be starters. How have you seen them respond to the challenges from some of these guys who maybe were in the background?
Yeah, I mean, it's competition, right? It's either going to elevate you or you're going to shrink up and fold up. So it's been yesterday was a great one because this is fall, right? There's a different air, there's a different feeling in the air, right? It's time to play your best. It's time to win football games, right? So I think that going out there and playing under the lights and getting the coaches out of there and just letting them go out there and play football, play instinctive, having to execute an assignment at the highest levels, that is going to show us, who has embraced that competition and who's ready to elevate themselves. A la, like I said, I mean, the Twins were wrecking shop in there. Juju, like I said, Jaden stepped up his game. The linebackers did a great job. I mean, like I said, Kai Bates did well. You expect Ed and Earl to do. You see guys rise up, and then you see some guys, quite frankly, ain't play good enough. So, and they ain't gonna play a damn down if they do that. So that's the thing that competition brings out in people. So I just, we're gonna let that handle itself, and no matter what the film is gonna show them, like, hey, you either step up or you step out.
Aswan?
How do you kind of plan for a guy like Jason Jenkins in terms of when he'll be available for you? Coach Norvell seemed to say that he's kind of close to being full. Does that change kind of the expectations maybe you had of your defense?
Nope. He is. You know what? We had a guy at San Diego State who had a major injury, and very same character. Like, you do anything for the young man, and he showed up, first one in the building, last one to leave, and he rushed himself back, and then he hurt himself again for another year. And I kind of learned my lesson, so to speak. Like, he is one of the first ones in the building, last ones to leave type of guy. He is all in. He is all FSU. He is a great teammate. He is a great young man, individual, and those guys have proven that they can play football. So you want to make sure that he goes out there. He's worked himself into a position to take that field healthy, and both physically and mentally, so he can go play his best ball. And Coach Norvell, I mean, again, credit to Coach Norvell. He was up for the scrimmage, and he's like, no way. He's like, no way, bro. Like, we ain't gonna do that. Like, let him get all the recovery, let him gain the confidence, let him gain the strength, and then, when he'll be back when it's time. So
We got time for just a couple more, Brandon.
You mentioned KJ Kirkland a little earlier, from the time you got here to where he's at now. I guess where is it growth have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, he's taken a step forward. Again, with the reps and with the expectations, again, he's a big, physical, fast body that's not scared to hit you. But it's about, he's gone from A to B. Now those guys got to go from B to C. Those guys got to play fast. They got to see something, and what used to take them 3 blinks now takes them 2 blinks. Well, we want to play great football. It's got to take you 1 blink. So now that's going to be the evolution of guys like that who are starting to get it, who the lights are turning on. May not have played a lot. Is they've gone from A to B. But in order to play the football we want to play around here on defense, we got to go from B to C. And that is going to be, hey, I see something, I'm gone. It can't be like, I don't know. Oh, there it is, and then go. By that time, great football teams are by you. You know what I mean? So we gotta continue to not only progress him, but again, AB. I mean, he showed up in a lot of ways last night. Donnie. I mean, he showed up in a lot of ways. Duty. You know what I mean? Like, I tell you what, Duty is he's starting to show the attributes, both physically and mentally, that you want in one of the best corners in the country. I mean, he's starting to show up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so those guys, again, they go from A to B, but now, it's on us. It's on us to make sure that we give them every tool and every resource to go from B to C and be ready to play some really good football.
Nick?
You were talking earlier about the sacks and how you felt like you had opportunities, but you could have gotten more of them. How do you weigh the pros and cons of getting those opportunities to get those guys, being disruptive, but not actually being able to seal the deal? How do you weigh those?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you something to work on, right? It gives T-Night. I mean, and I know he was on one, about all those things, but it gives you actual film to say, hey, when we play quarterbacks that are like this, you are going to have to do this. You're going to have to attack him here. You're going to have to aim here. You're going to have to understand that he might do this, but he's also going to do this. Well, you can say all the things you want, but until you have it on film, now you got that secondary reinforcement. It's like, oh, dang, coach, you're right. Like, you told me about this. So I think he's got some great film to go off of, and showing all those guys, like, when you play quarterbacks like this, like, you're gonna have to attack them differently than statues. You know what I mean? When guys who can't move in the pocket, completely different rush lanes, completely different than guys that are gonna take off and run around and buy some time on you. So great job on getting it on film, and I trust, you know, he's one of the best defensive line coaches in the country. I trust that he's gonna get it done.
Peter?
Going back to Jaden Jones, seeing that how he's been flashing and showing that and how he performed well in the scrimmage, like, what you want to see now more to continue to put him in the mix and rotation with that defensive line?
Well, I think everything he's been doing, you know, being the first one in the building, just being very humble, just going about his business, understanding what to do, understanding how to do it, and then using every opportunity, whether it's individual, whether it's pods, whether it's half line, whether it's one-on-one pass rush, using every tool and every resource for him to continue to get better. He's made that jump. You know what I mean? Like, he's gone from a guy who's never taken the field and been injured to last night. He arguably probably was one of the best players on the football field. You know what I mean? So for him to do that, everything in his process is working. Now we got to continue to give him the resources, and nights like that give him the confidence to be like, okay, I can do this, and I can do that at a high level. So we just got to keep on continuing to give him the things he needs to do to feel confident and go out there and play.
Corey, last one.
I know it's a learning process, and still got 3.5 weeks until the game, but when you see a physicality, the violent contact, are you seeing it come together like it needs to be in the Tony White defense? And how much is that preached every moment of every practice?
Yeah, I mean, every meeting, every moment of practice. I mean, it's you saw the intent, and there was, you know, you saw flashes of it, but it's nowhere near where it needs to be to win football games at this level for what we want to do. Not yet. So again, a lot of things to work on. That's one of the things. You know, either when you turn on the lights and just let guys play ball, you see the guys who are truly going in there to use dominant contact and to go get them some, and you see the guys who are ducking away, turning their head at the last second, or trying to run around blocks. That ain't gonna cut it, you know. And again, it's on film, so there ain't no talking, there ain't no yapping, there ain't no nothing. Like, it is on film. Either you're gonna go and do it, or you're gonna be sitting down watching. So,
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
thank you guys.
Thanks.
Shout out